He looked at me and his eyes were sad when he said, "Everything is almost better in Boston, except for the girls. Boston doesn't have you." That made me blush. He kissed me real sweet, and then I said to him, "Boston doesn't have me yet. Someday I'll move there and I'll find you." He made me promise, said if I moved to Boston, everything really would be better there, and it would be the best city in the world. We kissed some more, and did other things that I won't bore you with. Although that's not to say they were boring. They were not. But then this morning I had to tell him goodbye, and he held me and kissed me so much I thought I might die if he let go. But I didn't die, because he let go, and here I am, still living, still breathing, just barely. Lily, I flipped to the next page, but then slammed the book shut. There's only one more entry, and I don't know that I feel like reading it right now or ever. I put the journal back in my closet, knowing that my chapter with Atlas is over. He's happy now. I'm happy now. Time can heal all wounds, or at least most of them. I turn off my lamp and then pick up my phone to plug it in. I have 2 missed text messages from Ryle and one from my mother. Ryle, hey, naked truth commencing in 3.2. Was worried that being in a relationship would add to my responsibilities. That's why I've avoided them my whole life. Already have enough on my plate, and seeing the stress my parents' marriage seemed to cause them, and the failed marriages of some of my friends, wanted no part in something like that. But after tonight, realized that maybe a lot of people are just doing it wrong. Because what's happening between us doesn't feel like a responsibility. It feels like a reward. And FYI fall asleep wondering what did to deserve it. I pull my phone to my chest and smile. Then I screenshot the text because I'm keeping it forever. I open up the 3rd text message. A doctor, Lily? And your own business? Want to be you and grow up. I screenshot that one too. And then we laugh. I walk over to where she's seated and I sit next to her. We lean our heads together and look at the store. The steampunk flowers are front and center. And although I refused to sell this particular bouquet, we had 8 pre-orders for more of them. "I'm proud of you, Lily," she says. I smile. "I couldn't have done it without you, Isa." We sit there for several minutes, enjoying the rest we're finally giving our feet. This was honestly one of the best days I've ever had, but I can't help but feel a nagging sadness that Ryle never stopped by. He also never texted. "Have you heard from your brother today?" I ask. She shakes her head. "No, but I'm sure he's just busy." I nod. I know he's busy. We both look up when someone knocks on the door. I smile when I see him cupping his hands around his eyes with his face pressed to the window. He finally looks down and sees us sitting on the floor. "Speak of the devil," Elisa says. I jump up and unlock the door to let him in. As soon as I open it, he's pushing his way inside. "I missed it? I did. I missed it." He hugs me. "I'm sorry. I tried to get here as soon as I could." I hug him back and say, "It's fine. You're here. It was perfect." I'm giddy with excitement that he made it at all. "You're perfect," he says, kissing me. Elisa brushes past us. "You're perfect," she mimics. "Hey, Ryle, guess what?" Ryle releases me. "What?" Elisa grabs the trash can and drops it on the counter. Lily needs to hire more employees. I laugh at her constant repetition. Ryle squeezes my hand and says, "Sounds like business was good." I shrug. "I can't complain. I mean, I'm no brain surgeon, but I'm pretty good at what I do." Ryle laughs. "You guys need any help cleaning up?" Elisa and I put him to work, helping us clean up after the big day. We get everything finished and prepped for tomorrow. And then Marshall arrives just as we're finishing up. He's carrying a bag when he walks inside and drops it on the counter. He begins to pull out huge lumps of some kind of material and tosses them at each of us. I catch mine and unfold it. It's a onesie with kittens all over it. "Bruins game, free beer, suit up team." Elisa groans and says, "Marshall, you made $6 million this year. Do we really need free beer?" He shoves a finger against her lips, pushing them in opposite directions. "Shh! Don't speak like a rich girl, Isa. Blasphemy." She laughs, and Marshall grabs the onesie out of her hand. He unzips it and helps her into it. Once we're all suited up, we lock the door and head to the bar. I've never in my life seen so many men in onesies. Elisa and I are the only women wearing them, but I kind of like that. It's loud, so loud, and each time the Bruins make a good play, Elisa and I have to cover our ears from the screams. After about half an hour, a booth on the top floor opens up and we all run upstairs to claim it. Much better, Elisa says as we slide in. It's much quieter up here, although still loud compared to normal standards. A waitress comes over to take our drink order. I order red wine, and as soon as I do, Marshall practically jumps out of his seat. "Wine?" he yells. "You're in a onesie. You don't get free wine with a onesie." He tells the waitress to bring me a beer instead. Ryle tells her to bring me wine. Elisa wants water, and this upsets Marshall even more. He tells the waitress to bring 4 bottles of beer, and then Ryle says, 2 beers, red wine, and a water. The waitress is very confused by the time she leaves our table. Marshall throws his arm around Elisa and kisses her. "How am I supposed to try and knock you up tonight if you aren't a little wasted?" The look on Elisa's face changes, and I feel instantly bad for her. I know Marshall only said that in fun, but it has to bother her. She was just telling me a few days ago how depressed she is that she can't get pregnant. "I can't have beer, Marshall." "Then drink wine at least. You like me more when you're tipsy." He laughs at himself, but Elisa doesn't. "I can't have wine either. I can't have any alcohol, actually." Marshall stops laughing. My heart does a flip-flop. Marshall turns in the booth and grabs her shoulders, making her face him straight on. "Elisa?" She just starts nodding, and I don't know who starts crying first, me or Marshall or Elisa. "I'm gonna be a dad?" he yells. She's still nodding, and I'm just bawling like an idiot. Marshall jumps up in the booth and yells, "I'm gonna be a dad." I can't even explain what this moment is like. A grown man in a onesie, standing up in a booth at a bar, yelling to whoever will listen that he's gonna be a dad. He pulls her up, and they're both standing in the booth now. He kisses her, and it's the sweetest thing I've ever seen. Until I look at Ryle and catch him chewing on his bottom lip like he's trying to blink back a potential tear. He glances at me and sees me staring, so he looks away. "Shut up," he says. "She's my sister." I smile and lean over and kiss him on the cheek. "Congratulations, Uncle Ryle." Once the parents-to-be stop making out in the booth, Ryle and I both stand up and congratulate them. Elisa said she's been feeling sick for a while, but just took a test this morning before our grand opening. She was going to wait and tell Marshall tonight when they got home, but she couldn't hold it in for another second. Our drinks come and we order food. Once the waitress walks away, I look at Marshall. "How did you two meet?" He says, "Elisa tells the story better than I do." Elisa perks up and leans forward. "I hated him," she says. "He was Ryle's best friend, and he was always at the house. I thought he was so annoying. He had just moved to Ohio from Boston, and he had that Boston accent. He thought it made him so cool, but I just wanted to slap him every time he spoke." "She's so sweet," Marshall says sarcastically. "You were an idiot," Elisa replies, rolling her eyes. Anyway, one day Ryle and I had a few friends over. Nothing big, but our parents were out of town, so of course we had a little get-together. There were 30 people there, Ryle says. It was a party. "Okay, a party," Elisa says. I walked into the kitchen and Marshall was standing there pressed up against some floozy. "She wasn't a floozy," he says. "She was a nice girl. Tasted like Cheetos, but..." Elisa glares at him, so he shuts up. She turns back to me. "I lost it," she says. "I started yelling at him to take his whores to his own house. The girl was so terrified of me that she ran for the door and didn't come back." "Cock blocker," Marshall says. Elisa punches him in the shoulder. Anyway, after I cock-blocked him, I ran to my room, embarrassed that I did that. It was out of pure jealousy, and I didn't even realize I liked him that way until I saw his hands on some other girl's ass. I threw myself on my bed and started crying. A few minutes later, he walked into my room and asked me if I was okay. I rolled over and yelled, "I like you, you're stupid fuckface." And the rest is history, Marshall says. I laugh. "Aw, stupid fuckface, how sweet." Ryle holds up a finger and says, "You're leaving out the best part." Elisa shrugs. "Oh yeah." So Marshall walked over to me, pulled me off the bed, kissed me with the same mouth he was just kissing the floozy with, and we made out for half an hour. Ryle walked in on us and started screaming at Marshall. Then Marshall pushed Ryle out of my bedroom, locked the door, and made out with me for another hour. Ryle is shaking his head, betrayed by my best friend. Marshall pulls Elisa to him. "Tea like her, your stupid fuckface." I laugh, but Ryle turns to me with a serious look on his face. I didn't speak to him for an entire month. I was so mad. I eventually got over it. We were 18, she was 17. There wasn't much I could do in the way of keeping them apart. Wow, I say. I sometimes forget how close in age you two are. Elisa smiles and says, 3 kids in 3 years. I feel so sorry for my parents. The table grows quiet. I see an apologetic look pass from Elisa to Ryle. 3? I ask. You have another sibling? Ryle straightens up and takes a sip of his beer. He sets it back down on the table and says, we had an older brother. He passed away when we were kids. Such a great night, ruined by a simple question. Luckily, Marshall redirects the conversation like a pro. I spend the rest of the evening listening to stories about them growing up. I'm not sure I've ever laughed as hard as I have tonight. When the game is over, we all walk back to the shop to retrieve our cars. Ryle said he caught an Uber over earlier, so he'll just ride with me. Before Elisa and Marshall leave, I tell her to hold on. I run inside the store, grab the steampunk flowers, and run them back to their car. Her face lights up when I hand them to her. I'm happy you're pregnant, but that's not why I'm giving you these flowers. I just want you to have them, because you're my best friend. Elisa squeezes me and whispers in my ear, I hope he marries you someday. We'll be even better sisters. She climbs inside the car and they leave, and I just stand there watching them because I don't know that I've ever had a friend like her in my whole life. Maybe it's the wine. I don't know, but I love today. Everything about it. I especially love how Ryle looks, leaning against my car and watching me. You're really beautiful when you're happy. This day. Perfect. We're making our way up the stairs to my apartment when Ryle grabs my waist and pushes me against the wall. He just starts kissing me, right there in the stairwell. Impatient, I mutter. He laughs and cups my ass with both of his hands. No, it's this onesie. You really should consider making this your business attire. He kisses me again and doesn't stop kissing me until someone passes us, heading down the stairs. The guy mumbles, nice onesies, as he squeezes past us. Did the Bruins whine? Ryle nods. 3-1, he responds without looking up at the guy. Nice, the guy says. Once he's gone, I step away from Ryle. What is this onesie thing? Does every male in Boston know about this? He laughs and says, free beer, Lily. It's free beer. He pulls me up the stairs, and when we walk in the door, Lucy is standing at the kitchen table taping up a box of her stuff. There's another box she hasn't taped up yet, and I could swear I see a bowl that I bought at HomeGoods sticking out of the top. She said she'd have all her stuff out by next week, but I have a feeling she'll conveniently have some of my stuff out too. Who are you? She asks, looking Ryle up and down. Ryle Kincaid. I'm Lily's boyfriend. Lily's boyfriend. Did you hear that? Boyfriend. It's the first time he's confirmed it, and he said it so confidently. My boyfriend, huh? I walk into the kitchen and grab a bottle of wine and 2 wine glasses. Ryle comes up behind me as I'm pouring the wine and snakes his arms around my waist. Yep, your boyfriend. I hand him a glass of wine and say, so I'm a girlfriend? He holds up his glass and clinks it against mine. To the end of trial runs and the beginning of sure things. We're both smiling as we take a drink of our wine. Lucy stacks the boxes together and walks toward the front door. Looks like I got out right in time, she says. The door closes behind her, and Ryle raises an eyebrow. I don't think your roommate likes me very much. You'd be surprised. I didn't think she liked me either, but yesterday she asked me to be a bridesmaid at her wedding. I think she's just hoping for free flowers, though. She's very opportunistic. Ryle laughs and leans against the refrigerator. His eyes fall to a magnet that says Boston on it. He pulls it off the refrigerator and raises an eyebrow. You'll never get out of Boston purgatory if you keep souvenirs of Boston on your fridge like a tourist. I laugh and grab the magnet, slapping it back on the fridge. I like that he remembers so much about the first night we met. It was a gift. It only counts as touristy if I bought it myself. He steps over to me and takes my glass of wine from my hands. He sets both of our glasses on the countertop and then leans in and gives me a deep, passionate, drunken kiss. I can taste the tart fruitiness of the wine on his tongue, and I like it. His hands go to the zipper on my onesie. Let's get you out of these clothes. He pulls me toward the bedroom, kissing me while we both struggle out of our clothes. By the time we make it to my bedroom, I'm down to my bra and panties. He shoves me against the door, and I gasp at the unexpectedness of it. "Don't move," he says. He presses his lips to my chest, then begins to kiss me slowly as he makes his way down my body. Oh, Lord. Can this day seriously get any better? I run my hands through his hair, but he grabs my wrists and presses them against the door. He climbs back up my body, squeezing my wrists tightly. He raises an eyebrow in warning. I said, "Don't move." I try not to smile, but it's hard to disguise. He drags his mouth back down my body. He slowly lowers my panties to my ankles, but he tells me not to move so I don't kick them off. His mouth slides up my thigh until, yeah, best day ever.